Welcome to Divergent.com. Today we're going to take a look at a keyboard case for the 2018 iPad Pro 12.9 inch. And this is the IVSO wireless keyboard case. Alright, so here it is it's a full QWERTY keyboard. It's Bluetooth for the new iPad. Tell from the picture here that it's got this little kickstand that comes out. And it's got a special dock area at the bottom for the Apple Pencil, which is really cool because that's sometimes an often overlooked accessory that goes along with the iPad. So let's open this up and see what it looks like. Okay, so I emptied the contents of the box, and really isn't much in here except for this little box here that shows a micro USB cable. That is what's in here for charging it, because once again this is a Bluetooth keyboard, so it has a battery on board. It does not use Apple's smart connector. So that's consideration for extra weight. So let's open this up. See the flap, the magnetic flap over here. Kind of keep it closed. Open it up, and there's the keyboard. And we have here an instruction manual that shows the different keys, indicator lights, transformation patterns, and layout for the keyboard. Now the transformation patterns are kind of interesting. They kind of show how to set the case up in different standing modes. However, from what I can tell, the only one that really applies to us is this one, because these other ones don't seem to fit because there's a back flap that doesn't really come off. So, alright, let's take a look at what we have here. Let's take a look at the shell first. And you can see the shell is a semi-flexible, so it's not super rigid. And you can see from this angle the openings we have here. The openings here, down here for the speakers, microphone, opening for the camera. Alright, we have openings down here for the speakers as well, and the USB-C port. And then you can look in the corner, there's a power, and then down here is the volume rocker. Now looking at this side of the shell here, there's this groove here. That's where the pencil goes. There's a hole here for you can dock the pencil. And back on the top side here, there is you can see there's a kind of a groove in here as well. This is actually so that the pencil can sit on top and be wirelessly charged. All right, so let's look at the keyboard itself. This is the star of the show here, the keyboard portion of the case. So the keyboard is not backlit, which is unfortunate. I really would like to have had a backlit keyboard. But we can see here there's an on-off switch for it. On the side here is the micro USB charging port on the side. We have caps lock indicator, let's see, a link light, as well as a charge indicator. And then we have a row of function keys that are typical for Apple keyboards, going with like the home button, the contrast, keyboard showing, copy paste, media keys, volume, and lock. And then down here we have the cursor keys. It's an inverted T, however there's this home and end here, so I'm not fond of this setup because I think it's going to be too easy to kind of hit these other keys when you may not want to. So I usually prefer to have a dedicated set of inverted T cursors, but it's kind of what it is altogether. And then we have a function key, so FNC will bring it into pairing mode, and then there's a internationalization icon, so FN spacebar can change your international settings for the keyboard. Okay, so here I have my iPad. Let's go and put it in. Let's see, let's move this first and open this up. Now, for what I found, the easiest way to put it in is to put it on through this way first, the hard side first. Or not the hard side, but the thicker side where the pencil goes. All right, so I'll put that in here. And kind of play around with it. Of course, the iPad likes to turn on while doing all this. And then because it's flexible, I can kind of flip this around, and there's a bit of a lip that goes over the iPad. So you see that kind of goes over and kind of envelops the tablet, and you see that over there. So I can get, there we go, there. So there it is. So it's in the tablet, and you don't no longer see the silver edge. All right, you guys want to see here that there's plenty ample space here for the openings for the speakers and the USB-C port, and so forth here. Okay, so when it's closed up, it's got a nice little folio type thing. Now it's got a bit of a raise here, so you can see that it doesn't sit on top of the screen. There's that little bit of bulge here for the keyboard. All right. So in general, it looks pretty good. except that this may bother some people, but it's okay. In general, it feels nice. It's kind of like a rubberish type of material, so it's non-slippery, which is good. So it provides a grippy surface. Okay, so let's talk about the way it opens up here. So there's the back side. See the grooves here for the stand. So I kind of flip open the lid here, and then this kind of magnetically kind of sits in there, and then it kind of opens up. Now it kind of opens up this way. Kind of see that there. Open up this way, and this back part slides in, and actually this part here goes on the inside here, and then kind of sits, makes a little bit of a tent here. So from there, it sits, and you're good to go. Now the keyboard itself just comes down. It does support the open, turn the on off for when the flap comes up and down. So it does do that. So when you open it up, the keyboard is available. All right, so the keyboard is not detachable. So that's something that you may want to consider for those folks that like to have a keyboard that you can just kind of rip off and toss to the side. This does not do that, and this thing likes to pop down on me sometimes. All right, and then the pencil we'll put into the slot over here. Now, hold on, we'll talk about the pencil on the top area here. I'll move this up closer. So the pencil itself will still stick to the top, just like that. So the magnets are really strong. See, the indicator went up. So let's take a closer look here. So take this, still sticks, and it's got a good grip still, even with that layer on top. Pencil itself will stick down here into this little spot. Now it likes to go in this way because there's a bit of a funny little groove here for that. So there it is. So it parks in there. Okay, so I have everything set up here so you can see the screen and the keyboard a little bit better. And so I turned it on already, and I had previously paired it up with my iPad. If you need to do that, once again, it's FNC. We'll go into pairing mode. The LED will blink. You go into settings and add it to your Bluetooth devices. So now with the setup, I have full control. I have the option keys here with the home button on the side here. And I can bring up programs like Microsoft Word, which I previously opened. So we can go right in here and start typing. So keys feel pretty good. They're actually quite responsive. No real issues in latency or anything like that. So it keeps up pretty well. The keys themselves feel pretty responsive. They have a nice little bit of springiness to them. So they're you don't feel like you're slamming your fingers on the key on the desk itself. So it does pretty comfortable to type on. Once again, the only thing I wish this thing had was backlighting. So if I'm in low light settings, I can see it, but that is not the case. All right, the arrow keys themselves aren't too bad. I'm not fond of them because they're more like they're half size keys. They're sort of like fingertip keys, and but the home and end is kind of useful. I don't know. Jury's still out on it. But they're functional. I don't have any major issues with them, but I would prefer if they were normal sized arrow keys instead of these little small ones here. All right, so typing experience is to be expected. Works just fine. The company says you get about 70 hours worth of typing time with this thing, 150 hours of standby time, and a charge time of 3 to 4 hours. Not bad. All right, so let's take a look at using it, this case, in a different setup, more for pencil usage. And the only way I can think of using it is to basically take it and tent it the other way. This way. You see the screen flips over, and now with this, I have access to the pencil. Now the pencil positioning makes more sense now. There's a bit of a notch over here. If you can see, I can put my finger in here to kind of pry the pencil out of the casing. And now, the one issue you may have is that because this keyboard's not detachable, you have to deal with the fact that this dangles off the back of it. And so, depending on the room you have available to work with, you have to account for this, which is kind of it's kind of a missed opportunity. I think it'd be nice if you can take this off. So with this, then you can basically run applications like, say, Sketchbook Pro, which I had running already, And that's motion, never mind, wrong program. And over here, so then I can rest my hand on here, and I can do drawing and sketching as I need to, and then it stays pretty stable, and then I can dock the pencil up in the top over here if I'm not using it, or either way will work just fine. And if I'm done, I can just simply put it back in here, and I'm good to go. So then flipping it back over, I go back into typing mode, and I'm ready to work again. Now the only one thing that I found with this stand is that it can collapse if you kind of pull it the wrong way. So if I'm kind of yanking it around, it could pop open. It's pretty strong overall, but if I'm kind of grabbing and I'm moving it really quickly, forcefully, and I'm kind of leaning, putting pressure on the back end over here, it will collapse. So that's something to consider, to watch out for. A little bit of a pet peeve, but yeah, there we have it. All right, and then once again closes up into a nice little easy to carry along bundle. Now it is a bit, once again, it's a bit weighty because you have a battery that goes along with this thing. It doesn't draw the battery power from the tablet itself, but unfortunately there really is nothing much available from the big manufacturers. So Logitech doesn't have one yet, Zagg doesn't have one yet, but for the price tag, about $60 for this thing, it's not bad at all. If you really need a keyboard to go along with your iPad and you want it to be integrated into a shell like this, really not many options available, and so this isn't too bad at all, especially for, like I said, for half the price of what you would get from either Apple's offering or Zagg or Logitech. And right now the only other game in town is Apple's, as far as I can tell. So one last thing to look at before we can conclude here. Let's take it out of this case to see how hard it is to get it out. And because it's a semi-flexible case, it shouldn't be bad. So I can kind of put some pressure down here, up here in the bottom part here, and it kind of comes right out, and I'm back in business. So there you have it, a look at IVSO's wireless keyboard case for the 2018 12.9-inch iPad Pro. If you have any questions or things you'd like to see, feel free to leave some comments for me. Like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.